I honestly don't really want to say this, but I kind of have to, right? I think we have hit officially peak DEI, at least in gaming. This game can be summarized perfectly with be black, run fast, steal. And YouTube, this is not me being mean. This is not me doing anything. This is literally what these devs have done, have made, and want this to be. There is no other way to summarize this.
I can't believe this is actually a real game being promoted of all places by Epic Game Stores. Relooted is the wokest, most racist
Even the name Relooted is just peak perfection.
stealing simulator.
And look at this, by the way. I absolutely love this. This is how you know the people that are woke are not even honestly truthful with themselves. This is how you know that they don't really even care about the things that they say, because this is not their first attempt at something this absolutely stereotypical. And every time you think about it, it just gets worse. Well, let me explain a little bit, okay? What do we see here? Well, first we see here Black Panther, obviously, with the stereotypical hairstyle. Then we see a strong, independent woman that's stealing some kind of ancient artifact from Africa, which probably doesn't obviously exist, which with the typical dreads. And then you see a woman who looks more like a man because obviously. Obviously, we need to have that. That, by the way, doesn't have anything to do with Africa or African culture or history. It's just, we obviously need that because reasons. And I love the subtle things that you can see here. Because every point of design here is supposed to be like, yeah, we stand with Africa, African culture, and all of these things. But every time you just think about it a little bit, what do we see here? The colors, the African typical yellow, black, green colors, a little bit of that red and slight blue here and there, the hairstyles, the rings, the everything. And you know what that is? That is the most white part of African culture you can ever find. Okay? You don't see any nose rings. You don't see any bones sticking out of them. You don't see any scar tissue tattoos. You don't see any clay discs in their upper or lower lips. You don't see any of that. Every time we see something like this, it is just the most close to white culture things that you can get in Africa. None of these games ever actually delve truly into African culture, except when designing these things. You know, the African cultural heritage, treasures and whatnot. They're like freaky. But these things, no, 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 no. This is modern day African Americans at best. At best. This is how you know that all of this Vogue DEI nonsense is a pure grift because they will never actually go into the real culture or anything. They will just always keep skimming the superficial, above the water surface type of level and just give a character dreads. That's it. It's pathetic, really.
I think I've ever seen. And it's not even close. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And of course, Epic Games would drop this on a Saturday to limit the kickback and flack that clearly they're going to be getting from the entire community. But that's not stopping people from pushing back regardless of that. There
Obviously.
is a game being created by a studio apparently in Africa that is making a game trying to justify stealing back from the white man because white man
The leftovers from US aid, obviously, at work here.
and bad, and apparently they colonized and stole things, and it's only just for black people to steal it back. Because, ethical stealing, because minorities and stuff, I guess.
How would it not be ethical? I mean, look at this colorful rogues gallery of cringe. I mean, how would this? I mean, I'm just gonna shut up.
Are we really doing this? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out
Yay!
smashjt.com for the full article breaking down the ridiculousness of one of the wildest game ideas I've ever seen. And this one might take the cake, even from Dustborn. And that's
For now, there's always something not too far long that's gonna take the crown
saying something. Well, that
or steal the crown in this case, I guess.
actually does it. Officially moving into the justified theft portion of the Marxist playbook. I am still in complete awe to just how this game even got greenlit in the first place. The Epic Game Store is now actively promoting a game called Relooted on X, an African futurist heist game, as they
You know what's gonna be this funniest spot? You're probably gonna have someone who looks at this game and does an analysis of the historic artifacts, and they're gonna be like, none of these are even black. None of these are even African.
say, where gamers are breaking into Western museums to steal, excuse me, reclaim
Who cares? Wakanda forever! Okay, that's how we're doing this.
what was rightfully theirs in the first place because justified
By the way, as everyone knows, I'm a black trans woman. I can obviously do and say whatever I want.
theft is fine if you can go back far enough and say, yeah, that's not really yours anyway, so we can take it back, but it's illegal for us to do it, so we're gonna have to break in and steal it. Do they really think people don't
Wasn't that like a major plot point of Black Panther, the movie in general?
see exactly what they're trying to do with this propaganda right now? Because it couldn't be more clear. And what is it they want to steal? Real African artifacts. And yes, this
Real, eh?
game is real. And yes, it got funding somehow. And yes, again, Epic Games of all companies is the one pushing it, as if it's some sort of great cultural moment for gaming. But this ain't it, bro. Let's dive into what the Steam page says. It says reclaim real African artifacts from Western.
Okay. Listen. How many of them have VIGs? How many VIG customization options do we get here? That's what I'm interested in.
Museums in this African futurist heist game, recruit crew members, plan escape routes.
African futuristic hype. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh as a black woman.
Acquire the precious cargo and bounce out of the joint as fast as you can. And this is actually a real game. Again, I know I've said that like 12 times, but I keep going back to as many times as I've watched this trailer, I'm like, how did this get greenlit? Who approved this? Who thinks that there's a
Who approved Dustboard? Who approved Concord? I mean, we have been asking these questions since the beginning of time.
market for this? This is clear, pure DEI indoctrination trying to push racism and hatred as a self.
Whoa. It's not racism against white people, okay? Institutional power plus something. Yep, that's literally the claim, by the way.
Selling point of your game. Like, sure, any game company is welcome to make whatever game they want to make, just like any YouTuber or gamer out there is welcome to take to social media and give their feedback on how ridiculous some ideas really are. This is what happens when DEI ideology and activist storytelling replaces
You know what? I'll give you a hot take. This is not enough. We need to go more. We need to go deeper. Also, I'm constantly looking at this and I'm like, what the fuck? Were they so inclusive that they just have a autistic character right there? Like, there's no way there's anyone home. I look at this character and I'm like, damn, there's no way. Listen, Andy Shaquish is. No, I'm just gonna shut up. No,
actual developer creativity. The developers of this game is a
it's just too cringe.
South African studio named Nyamakop, proudly describing themselves as diverse and inclusive, as if that
Again, if you're wondering, let's look at the picture again. Come on. There we go. If you're wondering how is this diverse in any way, That's because the modern concept of diversity that these people go on is literally just being black. Diversity means amount of black people. This is what this in modern days means for these people. Uh, Having Asians not diverse, having Africa no, having Native Americans not diverse, having Indians not diverse, having Eskimos not diverse, obviously enough, or anything even close to that. The only diversity that matters in these movements is literally black. Okay? And if you're not that, you're not diversity. This is unironically really how most of these groups operate. It's extremely twisted.
named Nyamakop, proudly describing themselves as diverse and inclusive, as if that's some sort of credential for making a good game. Just because it's a diverse company doesn't necessarily translate into it makes it good or quality or a game people want to play. In fact, the way it's been going, I'd argue it's quite the opposite. But then looking at the team photo and they say it's diverse, and I'm like, how is this diverse? Just because it's got a couple white dudes and a couple girls in it, and everyone else
No,
is black because it's in Africa?
the black pot makes it diverse again. This is by the way, a lot of people seemingly don't get this, but again, yes, that's what they think diversity is, just having black people. That's diversity for them. And a lot of people seem to not understand that that's what they mean when they say the words diversity. Kind of funny.
God, that makes it diverse? Why are we even using these words in the first place? Who cares? Their first title was called Semblance, and it was a
Nice.
massive failure, to put it nicely, with a max concurrent player count on SteamDB of just 63 people. And the game came out back in
That's probably the studio.
2018. Ironically, they still haven't even updated their own website with this new game that's currently being worked on and actively promoted by Epic Games themselves on the Epic Games Twitter account, which
What what is this even, by the way? The world's first true platformer? How does this make sense?
Twitter account, which has 5.5 million followers. Now, apparently, after the massive failure of the original game called Semblance, they're back now hiring even more employees, upwards of 30 people at the
Wakanda
company.
forever.
Who is greenlighting this? Who is backing it? Where's the money coming from? And why? They already proven themselves to not be able to make a capable game in the first place originally, and yet somehow they're all failing upwards, making more money, bringing more people in, and getting promoted on the front page of Epic's Game Store. And they haven't even done anything or updated their website or proven what they can even make to make people excited about anything that's coming out of them. How does this keep happening? Building on our success of Semblance, Nyan Cop has grown to
Building on the success of one player.
30 people working on our next project, making us one of sub Saharan Africa's largest.
Dude, 30 people? They need 3 more and they can make the next clear Obscure Expedition 33, boys. Consider yourselves blessed.
Independent game developers. They're ready to unleash what is essentially a politically charged theft simulator.
Also, by the way, whenever someone calls themselves independent, they're typically not independent in the slightest.
Glorifying looting under the guise of justice. And the internet, oh, it definitely noticed, where plenty of people are teeing off on the replies on X, where Muzumari says, let's make a game about African culture and the African experience. It's a looting simulator. Or, friend of the channel Levistro says, this looks like Dustborn meets Concord in Dragon Age Veilguard. The profits are so going to skyrocket. In reverse. Or Powercake Greg, who says, thank you for confirming that wokest and DEIst are indeed the real racists all along. I mean, we already knew that, but this is just, and shows a gif of the chef's kiss. Or we have Keith Woods, who says, black people start making their own video games. It's a theft simulator. I mean, honestly, you hate to say it, but the jokes write themselves with this kind of thing. If this is what diversity is supposed to stand for, and the first thing that comes out of a South African country,
I mean, yeah. The funny part, this is exactly what the end goal was supposed to be, and well, they achieved it. Say what you will, they did achieve it.
is a theft simulator for black people, I'm like, really? Is this what we're doing? If anyone on the right were to ever make a game like this, it would be lambasted, completely
I didn't laugh.
destroyed by the woke journal mafia. But for some reason, because it's coming out of South Africa and it's friends with Epic Games and it's getting the stamp of approval from the wokies, then this is perfectly fine. There's nothing to see here, guys. Just buy up the slop and ask for next product. Yeah, that's not going to be happening here. But that's the thing that I keep going back to. And it's the same thing that happened with Dustborn as well.
Okay, again, I'm interested in this game's lore, okay? I want to know, is he canonically autistic, okay? And if so, like, what level of transcendence are we talking about here, okay? I I'm invested now. Well, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm sold and I am invested.
Thing that I keep going back to. And it's the same thing that
Hey, actually, considering it launched, let's see. Um, Relooted Steam DB. Wait, it's not here. What the fuck? Relooted. Oh no, it is. No, it's not. Last recent update. When is it supposed to be released? The last recent update was yesterday. Interesting. I don't see a release date. Okay, I guess it's fine. Well, whatever. I would have really wanted to see 0 players, but I guess this is what it is.
happened with Dustborn as well, where the game got funded and they didn't even care if they sold it.
Oh, look at that! The ball is made of
Dustborn
mud!
as well, where
Yay! That's so inclusive.
the game got funded and they didn't even care if they sold anything. It was all gravy. All the salaries were paid. It was from the Norwegian Film Institute for Dustborn. I don't know the specifics on the funding sources for Dying Cup specifically, but I'd imagine it's not being funded by player purchases, especially when you see the previous release and how it
There's just initiatives that fund this. There's like, okay, we're gonna pay you 50K. If they're from whatever African country, that 50K might as well be 50 billion for them. So, it's all good. It's pretty easy. This is the truth behind how a lot of this crap is being made. Someone just finds these initiatives and just does them, and it's kind of hilarious.
barely garnered any kind of following whatsoever. I don't know anyone in their right mind with money that would look at this company and say, yeah, let's fund them with another game because, of course.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This kind of looks at least enticing to see what it is. It's probably obviously garbage, but at least they have a good. What is this called? The thumbnail? Whatever. At least this is interesting.
They failed so hard the first time that surely the next time they're going to do great. That flies completely in the face of what investing even is. So then you have to dive even deeper into who is funding these things, who is enabling it, why does it keep happening? Because at the end of the day, this is just more political propaganda and indoctrination and not video gaming. Once again, this shows the fundamental rot going on deep within
I'm completely fine with this. It's hilarious. Anyway, that's it. That was Smash JP 10 out of 10. Bye.